Have you ever seen a company lose thousands just to avoid paying you $10? The year before the pandemic hit the US, I landed a job at a major airline as a part-time baggage handler. My shifts were 6 hours long, 5 nights a week, and even though the work could be exhausting, I genuinely loved being out on the ramp. There was something exciting about standing on the tarmac at night, surrounded by aircraft taxiing in and out, hearing the radio chatter and feeling the engines rumbling through the concrete. It made every shift feel like I was part of something bigger. Normally, each gate had one lead, the person responsible for planning the load, scanning bags, guiding aircraft into the gate, and towing them out when it was time to depart. Everyone else worked as handlers. I had only been there for a short time, but I was eager to learn and always stepped up. Eventually, I asked if I could train to become a lead, even though the usual expectation was at least a year of experience first. To my surprise, they let me take the course. I passed with no issues, but there were no open full-time lead positions. Instead, they put me into an upgrade lead status. If a supervisor needed an extra lead for a shift, they could approve it through the app, and I'd get the additional $1.75 per hour. Over a 6-hour shift, that came out to a grand total of $10.50. Not exactly a fortune, but enough to make a difference to me. For months, everything ran smoothly. Even though I was technically part-time, I was upgraded almost every night. I spent entire shifts towing planes to the runway, guiding them into gates and coordinating loading with crews. I loved it. It felt like I had found something I was genuinely good at. Then came the pandemic. Within what felt like weeks, flights were empty, schedules were shrinking, and supervisors were under strict orders to cut expenses anywhere possible. Overtime was slashed, breaks were rearranged, and workers were being sent home early to reduce payroll costs. One night, around 11 p.m., we were already stretched thin. A lot of handlers and leads had been sent home, leaving only a skeleton crew to cover multiple terminals. I got a call from operations telling me to grab a headset box and radio and head to a gate where a flight would be landing in about 5 minutes. They told me to put in my request for the lead upgrade once I got there. I arrived at the gate, checked the incoming load, briefed the team, and got everyone positioned. Just as the aircraft began rolling down the taxi lane toward us, my zone supervisor pulled up in his cart. He waved me over and quietly said, "We can't upgrade you tonight. We just can't justify the extra cost." I looked back at the gate crew. None of them were lead trained. According to union rules, supervisors weren't allowed to guide aircraft either. So I asked, "Who's bringing the plane in?" He told me he would go find another lead from another area and that I should just wait. I didn't argue. If they declined to pay for the upgrade, they declined the work that came with it. The aircraft approached the gate, stopped at the painted line, and waited. With no lead to guide them in, the pilots couldn't move. The entire ground crew stood there staring at the jet that was now frozen at the edge of the gate. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Passengers could clearly see the gate right in front of them, yet they couldn't move an inch closer. My radio crackled to life. Someone from operations demanded to know why the plane wasn't being brought in. I explained, calmly, that my supervisor had declined my upgrade request and told me he would locate another lead. The person on the radio tried to persuade me. They asked if I could just do it this once, but the rules were clear. Only designated leads could bring in aircraft, and they had already refused to designate me. Doing the work anyway would be breaking company procedures, so the plane sat there. I later learned that supervisors had sent too many leads home earlier in the night, thinking they wouldn't need them. The few who remained were already actively working other flights, so they spent nearly an hour trying to hunt one down. After 45 minutes, a lead from 2 terminals away finally arrived and guided the aircraft in. We unloaded and loaded as quickly as possible, but the damage was already done. The airline had now racked up thousands in extra fuel burn, passenger compensation, and crew schedule extensions. The flight attendants were pushed past their normal hours and had to be paid accordingly. Passengers who were frustrated by the delay were issued credits, and to top it off, the supervisor's annual bonus was tied directly to turn time performance. A single $10.50 pay bump would have avoided all of it. When the shift ended, I went home, set my alarm, and slept peacefully. I had done exactly the job I was authorized to do. Nothing more, nothing less.